Hey again, guys. Do you know what I like to do after I watch a bunch of old baseball movies on MLB Network? I like to look at some baseball cards. Watching those old movies, I was watching the original Bad News Bears. One of my favorite movies of all time. Such a great movie. And it brought back a memory of my childhood. So when I was in Little League, I remember when I was 9, my first year in Little League, our team came in one game out of first place. And the next 2 years, we just dominated, right? We won the championship both years, and we had some great talent. We had this great little catcher. He was a real talented catcher. And God rest his soul, because he was brutally murdered, actually, a few years ago, unfortunately. Over some drugs. And but he used to always say he wanted to play for the Mets, because the Mets were really bad when we were little. And he used to say he wanted to catch for the Mets when he grew up. And I remember we'd ask him, why the Mets? They're terrible. And he used to say, well, they won't be when I'm playing for them. And then we had our home run hitter was a guy by the name of Matt Kisner. And Matt Kisner ended up playing quarterback at Penn State. And in that 87 championship year where they won the national championship, he was actually on that team. He was the backup quarterback, and the next year became the starting quarterback. So we had some talent on that team, so they decided to break us up, because back then you would keep the same teams together. And so they decided to break us up to give other people a chance. Well, I ended up on another team when I was 12. And we too won the championship. So I won it 3 years in a row. But there was one team that was the worst team in the league, and they had beat us. And that was our only loss of the season. We lost to the worst team in the league. So the second time we were playing them, we were losing again. We were down by 1 run. And we had a man on first, and we had a man on third with 2 outs. And I was our cleanup hitter, and I was coming to bat. And you know what they did? We had this one kid, he couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag. I mean, literally, quite literally, he couldn't touch the ball. And at the end of the game, they would play every player on the team. And they brought this kid in at this crucial time, and he was batting right behind me. And there's 2 outs. We're down by 1 run. Man at second, man at third. So what do? They intentionally walk me. So they throw the first pitch out. And I remembered from the Bad News Bears that scene. And they go to throw the second pitch out. And I stepped across and I hit it. And I hit a line drive shot into the gap in right center. And I got a double. Both runs scored. My team's going crazy. We won the game. And the referee calls me out. And he says that I stepped on the plate when I reached for the ball. And I didn't even know that was a rule. And he called me out. And I remember sitting at the bench. And man, I was crying. I had my head down. I was so mad that I let my team down. Because, I could have easily not stepped on the plate. I didn't even know that was a rule. And it was very disappointing. So we ended that season losing 2 games only. And both games were to the worst team in the league. So that's my story. Now I want to show you a very rare, rare, great set. And that's the 1974 Capitol Publishing set. This is an obscure set that not a lot of people know about. And yeah, it's a great set. So, they were issued in 1974 of long-time retired players, right? But not all great sets are kind of created equal, in that this is an obscure, beautiful set. They're oversized cards. So let's just take a look at them. Here's the Babe Ruth. I'm shaking a little bit. I just got done working out. Here's a Lou Gehrig. I mean, tell me these cards aren't beautiful. Maybe not so much the Ty Cobb, but here's the Ty Cobb. And what's nice about this set is you will find some obscure players that don't have a lot of cards from the 1800s or early 1900s. like Big Ed Delahanty, for instance, or Roger Connor, those kinds of players. Here's a shoeless Joe Jackson. Cy Young, of course, this famous photo. Tris Speaker, and there are some unique photos on here, as you can see. For instance, that Babe Ruth, I've never seen a photo like that before, a pose. Home Run Baker, and this is a great one. Buck Weaver, great card. This is Hal Chase. And I just love this Gil Hodges. Here's Three Finger Brown. Fred Clark. Eddie Collins. Tony Lazzeri. Eddie Cicotti. Now, I always called him Cicotte growing up. But if you're familiar with that book, Glory of Their Times, they made an audio version of it. And they published all the original interviews with the actual players. So you get to hear Rube Walcard and all the old players. And when they talk about him, they pronounce it Cicotti. So I changed my pronunciation to Cicotti. I don't know if that's right or not. I mean, it makes sense. You know, us Italians, our names end in a vowel. It wouldn't be Cicotte in Italy. And here's a Cap Anson. Here's Big Ed Delahanty. Big Dan Brothers. Roger Connor. Jack Chesbro. Most wins in a season, 41. In the modern era. This is kind of interesting that they have this guy in here. I mean, I'm glad because he played for my Pirates, but Don Hoke, kind of a interesting choice in this set. And here's Beals Becker. So I have quite a few of these. Picked a bunch up recently, and these are the cards that I have so far. It's I believe it's something like 66 cards in the set. I'll have to double check that. So I'm going to try to complete this set. They're not easy cards to find, and people don't realize how rare these are. And you could still pick them up for relatively inexpensively. If you're looking for, like, for instance, if you're never going to own a Big Ed Delahanty or a Ty Cobb or a Cap Anson or a Dan Brothers, this is a nice alternative. So I wanted to share those with you. Hey, once again, thanks for watching.